How is everybody doing? Hope you're all doing well. We're going to take a look at the vinyl albums of Sting from 1985 to 1996. More or less the first decade of his solo recording career. So we're going to kick off with The Dream of the Blue Turtles. This was released in spring 1985. This was his first solo album after taking a break from the Police. The Police were the biggest band in the world by the time they released Synchronicity in 1983, and they technically were still together. After the 84 tour and stuff like that, there was no more. So Sting had a new band of mainly young black American jazz musicians. This is what we have here. It's pretty ambitious. The playing on it is top notch. It's a move up from the Police. Some people don't like Sting's solo career. Some people prefer the Police. Police are fantastic, but Sting had ambitions to kind of move away from that power trio and do something else. Some of the songs sound like they could have been Police songs and stuff like that, because obviously if this was a Police album, it will be more stripped down and stuff like that. But this works because it's pretty cool for the time, and it doesn't really have any of those 80s, click-clack production values. I like this album. It's nothing to smile about. It's quite serious as well, very serious, a bit pretentious. The themes are pretty bleak as well. You know, you've got themes of Cold War and Russians. Children's Crusade is about opium, going back to World War One and through the ages, and then people addicted to heroin in the 80s. So yeah, it's pretty bleak. And then We Work the Black Seam is about the coal miners and the fact that nuclear power was going to be taking over and stuff like that, and how dangerous that was, and the pollution. So it's an environmental record as well. Shadows in the Rain is a Police track from 1980s, Zenyatta Mondata, and this is a full blast workout here with the band. The band can actually play anything. You've got Darryl Jones on bass, Omar Hakim on drums, Kenny Kirkland on piano, Branford Marsalis saxophone. These guys are heavyweights, pretty heavy. Consider Me Gone, that's kind of a bit, it's like a trip to the psychologist. A bit of Shakespeare in there as well. The Dream of the Blue Turtles itself is a jazz track. It's very short and it's actually very good. Moon Over Bourbon Street is kind of about I think it's based on The Diary of a Werewolf or something like that, I can't remember. And then Fortress Around Your Heart, that's one of Sting's best tracks. Fantastic. Nice guitar motive at the start. Nice big fat chorus. Really good. So yeah, this one, I think it was recorded in Blue Wave. That's Eddie Grant's studio. Caribbean. Yeah. So this is Sting freed from the confines of the Police. Police were pretty heavy going as well, because they all had big egos and stuff like that. So they used to hate each other. I think they were kind of nothing short of killing each other at certain times. This is the UK pressing. Nothing special really. Standard one you'll find in like our shops, second-hand shops, and it's pretty easy to track down, and it's a good album. Like I said, it's got the musical chops if you want to expand your palette. It's more than a pop album. You couldn't call it 80s pop or anything like that. If You Love Somebody Set Them Free is on it as well. That was kind of I think it was a top 10 or 20 hit at the time. It's a mixed bag. It sits together well, but like I said, it's no laughing matter. But it's enjoyable, and Sting likes to let people know that he is educated. Right, so this copy is the US pressing, and it's a different affair altogether, because number one, it's just got better quality printing. It's just better, and yeah, the images are stronger. Yeah, it's just very, very nice. And same track running order and all that. But when you open it up, you have the inner sleeve is just photographs, and you've got the lyrics in a little single fold. So yeah, very, very cool. Again, like, the credits are on the back here. The photographs here were taken by Max Vadukul. Very, very good. You know, his images are fantastic. They kind of check him out, Google him. He makes people look as if they're moving and walking on air and stuff like that. You know, the way they yeah, he's done a lot of fashion photography, stuff like that. So it's very, very good. So anyway, let's keep going. This one is really cool because it's blue vinyl, and it's actually thicker as well. Like, feels like it's 180 gram. It's actually quite thick. It's really, really nice. I picked that up maybe 12, 13 years ago in a second-hand shop, and it was quite cheap as well. I know a picture disc of this album exists as well, with a die-cut sleeve, I think. But I don't like picture discs, and the quality is terrible. But this is really cool, and it's this is a very nice collector's item, you know. And this is the sticker that came on the front, limited coloured vinyl. Yeah. Well, there you go. That's pretty cool. That's one of my and in here even as well, you get with the plastic inner sleeve that fits the record. I did a lot in the US, and it's good because it kind of saves the vinyl from getting scratched on heavier card inserts. So yeah, this is a nice collector's item, and I'm glad to have it. So there you go. Next up is Bring On the Night. Those of you that know the Police will instantly recognise Bring On the Night was a track on their second album, Regatta de Blanche, and it's a great track as well. But here Sting has kind of almost a big band sound, especially with the horns and stuff like that, and this was the 1985 tour. This album was released in 86. It's a double, not a gatefold, unfortunately. And yeah, there's also a movie, and it's interesting. The band rehearsal in this big mansion in Paris, or near Paris or something like that, is quite good. And it shows the band like in a kind of more of an intimate setting, and then it prepares for the tour and to play in bigger places. You can see Sting help deliver one of his kids in the video as well. So by this stage Sting's playing guitar, and mainly a black Fender 70s Stratocaster. There's some Police documentaries on the internet, on YouTube as well, and it shows him writing songs, and he's got that black Strat. Seems to write on guitar, but he is a bass player. So this one, it's not bad. Bring On the Night is on it. But very different from the album version from the Police. When the world is running down, you make the best of what's still around. Consider Me Gone. Low Life. Low Life was another Police B-side from 1981. We Work the Black Seam. Driven to Tears, another Police track from Zenyatta Mondata. Dream of the Blue Turtles, Demolition Man, that's another Police track from Ghost in the Machine. One World, Love is the Seventh Wave. One World is Enough, again that's another one from Ghost in the Machine. Moon Over Bourbon Street, I Burn For You, that was from Police as far as I know, or it's from the soundtrack of Brimstone and Treacle, which I have on CD somewhere. Another Day as a B-side from If You Love Somebody, Set Them Free. Children's Crusade, Gone So Long, That's an old blues track. And Tea in the Sahara. That was the final track on the vinyl LP of Synchronicity. Please. Oh yeah, it's just fancy art. Fancy artwork and custom labels. I think, yeah, they're all different. Yeah, that's really cool. It's not bad, you know, it's... Yeah, it tells you as well what the musicians in the band, kind of little name checking. Branford Marsalis worked with Art Blakey, Dizzy Gillespie, Miles Davis, Wynton Marsalis and Clark Terry. You know, like big names. Backing singers, Janice Pendarvis, Dolette MacDonald, has worked with the Police, Talking Heads, Laurie Anderson. Hakeem has previously drummed with Weather Report. Darryl Jones, as known as The Munch, was bass player with Miles Davis before joining this band. Kenny Kirkland played with Wynton Marsalis, Dizzy Gillespie and Elvin Jones. He's a great keyboard player. Unfortunately, he passed away, I think, in the last decade or two. Fantastic keyboard player. So there you go, that's Bring On the Night. Okay, Nothing Like the Sun. This was released in 1987. This is another serious album. This is a double. And there's some good stuff on this. You know, it's not that commercial. Some good solid songwriting. Lazarus Heart, that's good. Nice rhythms as well, you know, it's kind of almost African and stuff like that, Afro-Caribbean. Andy Summers plays guitar on it. And then one of Sting's best songs, Be Still My Beating Heart. That's a fantastic track. Really is. I like the lyric, it's quite serious. I always liked it going way back. Then we have Englishman in New York. I think that's about Quentin Crisp. History Will Teach Us Nothing. Kind of bit of reggae. Then They Dance Alone, Waco Solo. It's a very political track about the Chilean courting dance, the Waco Solo. It was performed publicly by wives and daughters and the mothers of the disappeared. Sting was on the Amnesty Tour in 1986 along with Peter Gabriel and I think Bruce Springsteen and a few more. So this was kind of serious stuff. And the line in the song even, "Hey Mr. Pinochet, you've sown a bit of crop." So he's addressing a leader of a country directly. That's how big a pop ego can get sometimes, but you know, that was a terrible regime. Then Fragile is a beautiful little track. Really is. Nice classical guitar in that as well. Again, it's a bit dour, you know, it's nothing to smile about. We'll Be Together. Never really liked it. It's very synthetic and it's kind of, you know, it's almost like stuff Peter Gabriel did, Sledgehammer and Steam, you know, it reminds me of that kind of stuff. Straight to My Heart was about the changing ways that people may court and fall in love in the future. Yeah, it's quite serious, but it's a really, really good track. I love the chords in it and stuff like that. Sting has a certain way of writing and bringing one chord into the next. It's about programming people to be faithful and all that kind of stuff and all that nonsense. Rocksteady, you know, there's kind of a bit of reggae, kind of a gospel feel to it, but it's okay. Sister Moon, that's again, I suppose you could call it part 2 of Nova Bourbon Street. Kind of a very moody Gershwin style jazzy track, or Cole Porter maybe. Yeah. Little Wing, that's a cover of a Hendrix track. Gil Evans is actually on this. He conducted the orchestra and wrote the orchestrations. The Secret Marriage, just Sting on his piano, or Sting with a piano. Very short track. Nice again, yeah. Lots of names on this one. Manu Katché drums, Kenny Kirkland keyboards, Mino Senilo percussion, vocoder, Branford Marsalis sax, Andy Newmark additional drums, Gil Evans, Hiram Bullock guitar, Kinwood Dinard drums on Little Wing, Mark Egan bass on Little Wing, Andy Summers guitar on Lazarus Heart, and Be Still My Beating Heart. Farid Hack guitar and They Dance Alone. Mark Knopfler guitar and They Dance Alone. Eric Clapton guitar and They Dance Alone. Ruben Blades Spanish on They Dance Alone. Sting vocals, basses, guitars on Fragile, and History Will Teach Us Nothing. I remember reading a review or reading an interview about this album. This was recorded digitally. Here, Studios Montserrat, mixed by you, Pajaman, Neil Dorfman. Neil Dorfman, as we know, worked with Dire Straits on Brothers in Arms. He was a producer with Sting on this album. But it was a digital recording as far as I know, and he said he didn't like it. You know, there was no hiss or noise in the background and stuff like that, and it just kind of troubled him and stuff. Like, he goes, no, I won't record digitally again. But I don't know. I don't know what he was thinking. But yeah, it's interesting. Very interesting. So yeah, I was recording, I thought it was New York when I heard of Neil Dorfman, because he was working the power station and stuff like that. But we all make mistakes. So there you go, side 1. Side 2, and the other LP is more or less the same. Yeah, the album's about an hour long. I think there's an inlay card. Is there? Oh, there is. Yeah, there is lyrics. Oh yeah, they're actually sheets. That's oh yeah, there you go. So there's 11th. Look, there's Sting Jaded after going digital. Yeah, this is around the time he started growing his hair long as well, and in the Nelson Mandela concert in 1988. He's sporting the long hair and stuff like that. He looks like one of the villains out of Die Hard with the long hair. But there's also a Spanish version of this album. It's only got 5 tracks on it, and I think one Fragile is on it in Portuguese, I think, as well. So it's got a colour cover on it. This is the picture on it, full colour. You can pick it up cheaply enough. I just don't have it. I have it on CD. I didn't see the need for it on vinyl, because it's only, I don't think it even weighs in the 30 minutes, something like that. So there you go. That's Nothing Like the Sun LP. Right, next up is The Soul Cages. Yeah, this was released in 1991. This was not as well received as the previous solo stuff. So yeah, at the time as well, he said he had writer's block. I think neither his father died, I think, and he was going through that grief and stuff like that. I actually think it's a good album. You know, I think the first side is very strong, but it's the second side. The songs are long and kind of moody and stuff like that, and I think that they're actually quite mature. So I do enjoy it. It's got Island of Souls. That's about the ships being built in Newcastle, where Sting was living. That's about his father. That's a great track. Really is. You know, it's very, very cool. This album is a Q sound album as well. So the sounds kind of float around the place. Yeah, there was a few. It didn't take off. It's just what is Q sound? It's a revolutionary new audio technology which provides maximum depth, clarity and three-dimensional imagery from standard cassette CDs and albums. I think Madonna, the Immaculate Collection, was Q sound as well, but you don't see a lot of them out there. The sound kind of floats. And yeah, but it's, like I said, it's not a bad album. All This Time is a good track. That was a single. Mad About You, that's good as well. I think it's about King David or something like that. Biblical. Why Should I Cry For You? Jeremiah Blues Part 1. That's another good one. Then you've got the kind of quiet tracks. The Wild Wild Sea. When the Angels Fall. But I like that, you know. And then The Soul Cages itself. It sounds a little bit like the Police. It reminds me of Don't Stand So Close To Me, 86. And the Police got back together for one last bash before they released their Greatest Hits album. Now, on this one, he has kind of a core band as well, which would be with him for a long time. We've got Dominic Miller, guitars. Kenny Kirkland, keyboards. Manu Katché, drums. And I think after this, Vinnie Colaiuta became the drummer for a long time as well. Dave Sanchez keyboards. This is what you call it? Is it a French pressing or something like that? Made in Holland. I bought this in France. I bought it in Nice in 2006 or 2007, I can't remember. But it was nice to find and it wasn't expensive. It's got the A&M label, different one. Yeah, nice to have. No inner or anything like that. Nothing. You don't need it because all the info is on the back of the sleeve anyway. But like I said, in retrospect, it's not a bad album. You know, it's enjoyable. Again, it's another digital recording, so he didn't stray far from it. Yeah, it's a good album, and one of his kind of sleepers, you know. Next up is 10 Summoner's Tales. This was released in 1993. I think it was around March or something like that. This is a strong album. When I bought this back then on CD, I just played it non-stop, I'd say, for the whole year, and even after that. It's very strong. Very, very strong. I'd say nearly every song is great on this, although I think the vinyl has one track less than the CD. It kicks off with If I Ever Lose My Faith in You. That was a big hit. Love is Stronger Than Justice. It's got a country tinged track with a story. The Munificent Seven. Fields of Gold, everybody knows that. That was a pretty big one. Heavy Cloud No Rain. She's Too Good For Me. I like that one as well. And 7 Days. That's a fantastic track. Great drums on that by Vinnie Colaiuta. St. Augustine in Hell. Another good one. It's Probably Me. This is the album version, but there was another version with Eric Clapton as well, from the movie Lethal Weapon 3, I think. And Shape of My Heart, everybody knows that one. That was sampled as well by some rapper. Something the Boy Said, that's another good one as well. Kind of a story. And then Epilogue, Nothing But Me, kind of a funky thing. There's a track missing from this, Everybody Laughed But You. That's right, yeah, that's not on this. It's not an essential track by any means. You could do without it. Kind of like more of a B-side. Yeah. And there's actually another version of it as well called January Stars, which came out on a CD single. So yeah, this is just in the way for this. It says here 1993. Okay, I thought it said 95. So this one, I bought this from a guy in Italy. Again, you see the label. It might have been repressed since, I think it was, but back then I bought it, I'd say maybe 10 years ago. Not easy to get back then, and it was expensive now. But this one is in mint condition. Yeah, the guy was a little bit crazy, you know. He says, I only sell to people who like good record, you know what I mean, blah blah blah. But he was fine. This is actually made in Germany. European pressing. But yeah, not one you see every day of the week. But like I said again, I'm sure it was reissued. That's a good album. Probably one of his best. There's a video companion for this as well that was released, and I had it. I don't know where it went, but I presume eventually, if they remastered the album or bring out it, I don't know. I suppose next year is the 30th anniversary. I'm not sure if they will, but there's a video. The songs on the video are different. They're kind of more or less work in progress because the band is playing it live in the studio in Sting's house. Yeah, so it's interesting. Yeah, it's quite interesting. And finally, we come to the end of the journey. This is Mercury Falling from 1996. I did buy this on CD when it came out. It did get a pressing on vinyl back then as well, but I don't know, I never got it. I was kind of more into the CDs in the 90s. This one, it's, at the time I listened to it and stuff, but looking back now, it's wouldn't be my favourite. And yeah, there's some kind of There's some weak tracks on this one. This is a repress. It says here 1990, but it's obviously can't be, like it's 1990. A&M Records. I think it came out in, I don't know, 2014 or 15, I don't know, I'm not sure, but I checked it down on Discogs. Anyway, Hounds of Winter, it's only okay, it's kind of a slow starter. I Hung My Head, that's again a tale of a guy in the West who shot a guy accidentally. Yeah, it's kind of a bit, once you hear it once, it's kind of a bit pointless. Let Your Soul Be Your Pilot, that's a good track, that's actually kind of nice, it's kind of soulful. And you know, I Was Brought to My Senses, again, that's a nice one, I like that, that's a great track. Yeah, and then you've got You Still Touch Me, again, kind of soul, but not great. And then I'm So Happy I Can't Stop Crying, that's kind of a country track, again, harks back to Love Is Stronger Than Justice on 10 Summoner's Tales. All 4 Seasons in One Day, that's kind of My Baby Is This, and she's all 4 seasons in one day, again the lyric isn't great. And then you've got 25 to Midnight, that's a bit cringy. My Friend Jack Won't Come Back or something like that, I don't know. Then there's a French track, La Belle Dame Sans Regret. And then Valparaiso, I think that's not too bad. And then you've Lithium Sunset. Yeah, but this is, actually only got this a couple of months ago. I found it in a second-hand record shop. It's quite cheap. They did release All Stings albums in a box set as well, as far as I know. But this is like just collectible. It's, you know, it's not essential. It's, yeah. The band here are Dominic Miller guitars, Kenny Kirkland keyboards, Vinnie Colaiuta drums, Sting vocals, bass, and some guest artists. Yeah. Wouldn't be my cup of tea. And after that then he released, what was it, Brand New Day in 1999, and I never liked that album at all. I just don't know, I didn't like the production, the sound of it. It was kind of Desert Rose and stuff like that, kind of turned me off. And when I bought this, they also had Brand New Day in the shop. I kind of should have bought it really to have it on vinyl, because it's not that, you don't see it that often. But yeah, it's just one, didn't really want to spend money on an album I don't like, you know, that I have no interest in. So that's the thing. I mean, you can buy everything to have everything, and yet you're better off spending the money on stuff you really want instead. That's my philosophy on vinyl. I've done it before. I've bought stuff I didn't want just for the sake of having it, and it's, you know, you're kind of cheating yourself. Oh, by the way, I thought you just might like this. And it's not me really trumpet blowing, because that's not my style. But this is me with Sting. Got a photograph taken in June 2013. He was playing a gig in a city nearby, and he was at my friend's restaurant, and my friend rang me and said, come down, he's here, blah blah blah, go in and say hello. And I was thinking, go in and say hello, you know, you don't do that to major stars and stuff like that. But anyway, I came down because we had tickets for the gig. We got complimentary tickets, not from Sting himself, but from the I think the promoter or something like that. I don't know, don't ask me. So anyway, yeah, he was there, and he was cool. I just shook his hand and said welcome to Ireland, and yeah, and that was it. That's the polls. 2 posers. But it's funny, after I was thinking, you know, I listened to his music all my life, I'd say, nearly, you know, and then you just meet him, and it's just strange, you know what I mean? It's just a man like anybody else, and his wife was there, Trudy, and stuff like that. And I did crack a joke with him as well when I was on my way down to my car. And yeah, so I think he said he got a present of underwear from some shop. So it must have been some joke or something like that. He said women's underwear, and I said, yeah, you probably don't tell me you're not used to that. And he was laughing, and Trudy was laughing. But you know, but that was it. And went to the gig that night. It was kind of a greatest hits gig, really. You know, he played all the greatest hits, Police and Sting. And he did actually mention on stage that his grandmother or great grandmother was Agnes Murphy from Cork City in Ireland. So there you go. So that's it. No more trumpet blowing. I'm out. Over and out. Adios.